Let's see. Apologies. My laptop keeps telling me that the application can't open and giving me an error. So, good old
Oh,
technical stuff.
yeah, that's why I was like, what the hell? I'm like, it's on the portal and it's in my, I mean, you being the computer as you are, you upload it and it automatically populates my calendar. So I get reminders like you dial in 15, dial in 10. And I'm like, okay. So I dialed in and then I'm sitting there waiting. I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah. So
And I'm
normally,
looking at everything. I'm like, I'm supposed to be here. I was just about to text you one more minute and I'm out because I'm going to cook a meal.
no, Gavin also asked me how to join in a text. So I apologize.
No,
The
you've done great, man. It's on the. Let me tell you, I think you do fucking awesome, boss. Because you've got it on our portal. It's on my laptop and it's on my phone, so I never have to go. Oh fuck, I don't see it because every morning I get up and I look January 12th and I got fucking like three big red circles on it, and I'm like, oh, Tim's obviously loaded something in my calendar. I'm
that's
like,
I want
what's
it
it like
easy,
to have a
right? I don't want
what?
people to have to
It,
miss things because it just didn't pop or whatever.
yeah, I'm like, I got a boss who's the best personal assistant I've ever had.
And that's the way it should be, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I'm like, my fucking boss knows how to do everything. I'm like, there's no way I can go, hey, I didn't fucking see it. And now you fix my computer. I'm like, all your instructions fix my computer. So I'm like, fuck, this is great. My shit's all working. I can actually get in here and do shit.
It is nice to have a resident IT as a boss.
Yeah. Yeah.
Saves us a load of money too on the IT side of it, because that's one of
Right.
the biggest, outgoing would be IT, but because I can fix it. So no, I do apologize again if you're watching the recording or if you're joining in. I was a little late because my computer decided that it didn't want to run. So I poured some coffee over the keyboard and I think it fixes it. I'm just kidding. I didn't pour coffee over my keyboard. That would definitely not be good. So today's our fitness conversation. As always, we'll go into some admin stuff. We'll get into the topic, and then we'll end with some Q&A. I did get some questions ahead of time, so I've wrote those down, and so we'll definitely make sure to answer those before we close today. So real quick, thanks for joining. Thanks for being here. As always, this is our weekly call for the Heroes Veritas community. Today is our fitness pillar. It's a very critical pillar in regards to, everything starts with fitness. If you don't have fitness, pretty much everything falls apart. Our health is our wealth. As far as admin stuff goes, we have Sovereign Summit coming up in June. And before that, we have a member meetup. I believe it's January 21st. Tish and Aaron have been planning that, so they have all the details. They're going to get it in the portal as soon as they've squared away some of the stuff. I know we got confirmation that the location that they wanted is squared away, so they're getting all those details hammered out, and they'll get that as an event in the portal. So we'll be communicating that out more and more details on that. But this is just an opportunity for us to meet in person, hang out, talk, connect. I don't know if you guys saw the video that I posted in the faith section. Oh, I'm sorry, in the business section, but we are wired for connection, like hardwired. Everything about our biology, our anthropology is wired for connection. And while the video chat is all well and good, again, we've said it before, this is a virtual step towards our physical location, which is our ranch. And that's because we realize that a true tribe, a true community needs to be able to hug and touch and shake hands and connect energetically in person for it to really sync and to really shape the world around us. And so while the virtual gives us a platform to talk and connect, we really do miss that physical connection. And Matt and I can speak to that as well. As my right-hand man, that's one area we struggle with because we're so far apart. Sometimes we just get busy and we don't connect like we should. And so, putting tools in place is all well and good, but nothing ever will replace the fact that we're in each other's space. We're really looking forward to the ranch. And so if you guys can make it out to the 21st, if you're in Northern California, Southern Oregon, Northern Nevada, real easy jaunt to where we're going to have it, a couple hour drive. I highly recommend showing up because it's really great to just connect with each other on a more visceral level. Same thing with the Sovereign Summit, a lot more planning involved. click meeting link. Sorry, just making sure people can join in. So Sovereign Summit is another opportunity for us to get together. Now, Sovereign Summit is a premium event. That event is in an effort for us to give as much pouring in person as we possibly can. The best thing about Sovereign Summit, and anybody that's been to one of my King's Callings in the past, anybody that's been in a live event that I've hosted in the past, they will attest to this. There is a power that comes from being able to connect and hear the things that I teach and hear the way that I speak about things in person. Not only me, but it's not an egocentric experience. It's a very personal experience. And so everybody that's in that space gets the opportunity to pour into each other as well. And that's where the real power comes from those events. Sovereign Summit is a 3-day event. It is a crash course in developing personal sovereignty. So it is literally every tool set that you could possibly kick off to begin leveraging your own personal sovereignty, all condensed into a single, 3-day period. And so you'll leave feeling absolutely energized. You'll leave wanting to run through a wall. You'll leave feeling dangerous as all hell. There's a term, unfuckwithable, and I don't think I could define a better word than how you would feel when you leave a Sovereign Summit. You really do feel unfuckwithable. So I highly encourage you guys to come out to a Sovereign Summit. This will be our last public Sovereign Summit. So if you know people that you think would benefit, I highly recommend getting them into this. Otherwise, it's going to be an exclusive member event. So the reason that this is our last public one is because some people are still on the fence about joining our tribe. There's a little bit of fear. There's a little bit of hesitation. I don't want to be wrong. I don't know if they're going to judge me or so on and so forth. And so Sovereign Summit's a great opportunity to get just that data download of how we do things. And I can't say it enough, and then I'll step down off of my sales pitch here, but you really want to experience that in person. You want to experience that live. You want to bring the people that you love the most and you care about the most that are going to support that journey with you and that you want to support in that journey to a Sovereign Summit, because all it's going to do is it's just going to elevate your progress to that next level. Also, if you haven't turned on push notifications in your app, I highly, highly encourage you to do this. I've heard a lot of people struggle with getting I'm sorry. I need to send the link. Nobody can join apparently. So give me 1 second and I'll get back on the push notification part.
Yeah, you want to make sure you turn on push notifications in the settings of the portal to make sure you're getting all the latest feed updates and things and projects that are coming up, things we got going on. And you'll be notified when members, people you follow, have updated status and posted something, because we're all in here to build one another and help one another. So make sure you turn on those push notifications.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you for taking that over. I'm also going to post the link directly in the portal for people to click. I'm not sure why there wasn't a link in. Not sure why there wasn't a link inside the portal already. So my apologies for the delay here. There's Gavin. Gotta love tech difficulties. Whatever will go wrong, what can go wrong, will go wrong. Guaranteed. There we go. Numbers. All right, so go ahead and notify everybody. If you have push notifications on, you would have just got the link in your app right now. So again, another kind of unintentional, but glad we got the opportunity to share that while we're on this call. Why push notifications are so critical, because as we send updates, you'll get them directly on your phone like you would your Instagram feed or your Facebook feed. So without further ado, glad to see you on, Gavin. Glad that you finally were able to make it in. Apologies for the tech difficulties that we've been having. I'm glad you're on today, Gavin, especially because this is your real field of expertise. So towards the end, I'll probably be asking you to share some additional tips that maybe I didn't cover. If you guys haven't connected with Gavin yet, I highly recommend you do. He's our registered dietitian and fitness guru. He's our director of fitness here at the Heroes Veritas community. And so he's an absolute wealth of knowledge. I go to him anytime I get stuck, and I highly recommend you guys do the same. So
I will have to get off at 11:30. I got a patient consult at 11:30.
Yeah, not a problem.
Okay.
So if I don't get to you before then not a big deal. I really appreciate that you are here from the time that you are. So today is our fitness portal. Now, see, all the technical difficulties take all the swagger that you could muster right out the window. So you'll see me stuttering a little bit more now. I had a planned function here, and now I'm just all kind of sideways. Anyway, so it's the start of the new year. Most of us have made some form of resolution or goal or something in our mind in order to become, smarter, prettier, happier, richer, fitter, whatever the case is that you're looking to do. Fitness is one of those areas that are critical to every single aspect of your life. So within the Heroes Parthenon, fitness is the second pillar. And it is the foundation, more so than a pillar, for the rest of your journey. Because if you're not healthy, none of the other stuff matters. And fitness is a core system for making sure that we have a healthy lifestyle. Beyond that, a lot of people struggle with fitness because they either see it as a bill or they see it as a hurdle to overcome. The reality is that fitness as a pillar is an investment. It's not a bill. Okay. So if you take and look at fitness and you're like, I can't afford a gym membership, but you buy a coffee every day, give up coffee for every, say, Monday, every Wednesday. One coffee is $5. You do that every month, you give that up. That's about 25 to 30 bucks, depending on what kind of drink you get, back in your pocket just by giving up 4 drinks. And now you have a gym membership. So for giving up 4 coffees, not all your coffee, just 4 coffees, you get a gym membership. So the idea that this bill of gym is not available is just our own excuse. It's our own way of kind of making up a way out. And so the other thing that I'd like to, identify and really impress upon people is this notion that I can't work out or I can't be fit because I'm a mother or father and I have children. They take all my time. And this is a very slippery slope and a very scary thing if you actually extrapolate what you're saying. You're effectively saying, I'm okay with dying early so that I can spend an extra hour with them a day. I'm okay with being low energy when I do spend time with them because I won't give myself the priority of spending an hour in the gym to develop the anaerobic and aerobic fortitude to play with my kids, right? I've heard so many stories from clients who realized in the worst time that they gave up the priority of gym, of fitness for their children. And it's the worst time because they needed to help their kid down from a tree who was scared and they couldn't because their back would give out. I have people that needed to pick their kid up because they fell and they're crying. And as soon as they went down, they couldn't reach their toes and therefore they couldn't pick up the kid. Right. When I was a personal training client, these were stories that people told me. Now, for them, that was their force to change. That was their impetus to change. And so they realized as a result of a bad experience trying to parent out of shape, how important their fitness was. And I would like to impress upon everybody, don't let yourself get to that point, especially if you're a parent, to where there has to be a catastrophic failure in order for you to realize how much of a priority your health and your fitness is as a parent. Because the reality is you are the last line of defense for your children. And so that doesn't mean a violent encounter. That doesn't mean protection that way, but you're the first thing they see in the morning. You're the last thing they see and they go to bed. If you're not fit, then fitness does not become something that they care about. If you get sick, the bills don't get paid. If you get sick, there's no downtime for you. So prioritizing an hour, whether that's a partner or a babysitter, or you take them to kids club or whatever it is, if you are not prioritizing that hour of extra struggle, extra exercise to force your body to adapt, then you're just putting off that downtime for sickness. And I can guarantee you the downtime compounded of not doing that hour of health and wellness prioritization early on is going to be compounded with interest. And so you're going to be down longer. You're going to be more sick. You're going to have more issues playing with your kids. You're going to have lower energy levels, and you're just going to push that off until it becomes a completely broken state, and you're going to have that catastrophic failure. And so prioritizing your fitness, while it may feel internally out of, mom guilt, dad guilt, parental guilt, that you're prioritizing a selfish need over your children, you are actually putting them first by doing that, because you're saying, yes, I am selfishly going to the gym right now for an hour so that I'm not down for 4 days later because I got sick because I didn't build up my immune system by doing exercise. And so this perspective and mindset shift, especially as you're going into the new year, if you're a new parent or you've been a parent and you're just trying to be better for them, they're watching everything you do. And so not only are you taking that 1 hour of selfishness a day, 3 days a week, 5 days a week, whatever it is to get you started, and showing them proper, in prioritizing your longevity so that you can be there for them, you're also showing them good habits. Because as they get older, they're going to have those same problems. They're going to have those same sticking points. They're going to have job and work and kids and dogs and all these things that come into play as your life gets busy, that you can use them as an excuse. Well, I can't go today because I got a meeting, or I can't go because I need to be home to cook dinner for my kids. Or it's like, okay, well, what about after? Right? Like maybe you have a husband who you don't necessarily want to, take care of the kids, because you just don't trust them. And that's fair, because we'll let them bang their head. And as long as they get up and walk it off, we'll be fine with it. That's how dads parent. We're a little bit more hands off. If that's something you worry about, then let your husband know, hey, the kids are asleep. Just make sure they don't get up out of bed. I'm going to go to the gym. Right? Like that gives you that opportunity. They're sleeping. You can't do anything with them anyway. They're at the lowest point of risk for your stop, Matt, stop. The lowest risk for your husband to screw up, take the opportunity, right? And so that lends itself to the next conversation. The next excuse we get when it comes to fitness is, what if I don't have support from my partner, right? Like we hear this a lot. Dudes that get self-conscious because their women start going to the gym, they start feeling like they're trying to better themselves and they don't want to better themselves. So they start to get jealous. You're just going for a dude. You're trying to replace me. All of this fear-based crap. I'm going to tell you right now, do it anyway. Do it anyway. And here's why. One, if you don't do it, you've just created an enemy out of them, because long-term you're going to resent them because they held you back. So relationship over anyway. It's just waiting to fall apart. Two, do it anyway, because if they don't support you, then you just found out an item that you guys need to work on, because that support is going to be critical for a long-lasting relationship. Because what they're saying is, my fear is more important than your health. That's a problem. On many levels, that's a problem. So you need to do it anyway. And three, if you have somebody who does support you on the positive side, how much more trusting, how much more loving do you feel towards a person who is like, whatever you need, I got you, right? Give them that opportunity to support you in that way. You don't have to tell them, hey, we have to go to the gym. I see this mistake a lot, where couples decide that they want to get better. And so they feel that they have to drag this other person with them. You don't need to drag them. You do you. They'll find their own way, right? Because you're exuding a confidence, a level of like, this is what I need. I'm going to go get what I need. They're going to see that, and they're either going to become very uncomfortable, right? Because they're self-conscious. That's their issue, not yours. Something for you to address, but not your issue. Or they're going to go, I'm self-conscious. They're bettering themselves. I should level up if I want to be here. So now you're leading by example. So those are the main excuses I see. I can't afford it. I don't have time. I don't want to give up time with my children, and I don't have support. Those are all how you solve them. You do it anyway, because you're really prioritizing the long game versus the short game, right? Every one of those excuses is a short game play. Don't have money. Yeah, but you have enough for coffee, or you have enough to eat out, or you have enough for, little trinkets or whatever. I don't want my kids to feel like they're unimportant. Okay, then reframe it as they're important enough to stay on the earth for 60, 70, 80 years. I don't have support. Well, then that's something you should address, but you should definitely identify that by going and making yourself better, because one way or the other, it's gonna surface. And then I don't have time. Well, it doesn't take a lot, right? 20 minutes when you've done nothing but sit on a couch for 20 years is probably going to have a major impact on your health. You go for a walk. You can take the kids with you for a walk. When they go to the park, do a couple pull-ups. When you go to the park, run up those stairs a little bit. That's how you make those changes slowly and incrementally. So one of the things that we talked about as a team was, what do we even want to talk about in fitness, right? And we had some fun with it. Look good naked, age gracefully, be fuckable. You know, we talked about how we frame those things, right? And the more we talked about it, the more I realized that, yeah, that's true. And those are all byproducts of things. And if you're motivated by those things, by all means, you want to be fuckable, great. You want to look good naked, great. You want to age gracefully, great. You got to kind of find your own personal why, right? Like for me, like I age like a fine whiskey. I get better with age. That's how I work. So that's my mindset. So like, as long as I'm tracking for myself to age like a fine whiskey, it's not going to be a real motivator for me to age gracefully, right? But being functional, having strength, having the ability to show up when I need it, that's what my motivator is, right? So whatever your motivation is for getting fit this year, whatever that is, whether it's I want to lose pounds because I want to look better, I want to have more energy, you know, I just want to be able to pull a car, like whatever that function is for you, make sure it's your function. Make sure that it's not a magazine telling you or selling you on an idea of what you think you should be, right? 9 times out of 10, people pick a number. I want to weigh 20 pounds less. Well, why that number? Why do you want to weigh 20 pounds less? Well, because they said I should be. Okay, well, then that's not going to work, because when things get hard and you get tired and days get long and the kids are screaming and they want dinner and you need to still go to the gym, if that's your reason, you're going to make an excuse. You'll find a reason not to go do it. So you have to find out what that reason is for you, and it has to be strong enough that when shit goes sideways, you're going to still do it, because shit will go sideways. I can't tell you how yesterday was that day for me. I needed to go to the gym and I had meetings back to back all day. I was at the gym at like 8 p.m. because I had to get my workout in. Now for me, my workout in is more of a mental decompression. Okay, so like if I don't get my workouts in, I will get angry. I get irritable. I get annoyed easier. I'm more likely to lash out and get aggressive. So for me, the gym is my opportunity to connect with myself and decompress and create a parenthesis on my life so that I have a place to have a breather. And so, your why that you go has to be strong enough to overcome all of the BS and the excuses and all the things. So when we talk about resolutions, you have to get a little bit more deep than I just want to lose 10 pounds. You have to sit with the, why am I losing 10 pounds? I want more energy. Then do I really care about the 10 pounds? No. If you could have that energy now at the weight that you're at now, would you really want to lose that weight? Probably not. You just want more energy. Are you going to be able to get that energy at the weight you are now? Maybe, maybe not. But if you can throw the scale out and just be like, I'm going to just go to the gym every day for a half hour until I have more energy. That is a much more functional approach than I'm going to lose 10 pounds. Because here's what's going to happen. You're going to say, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. I got to lose 10 pounds. And the scale becomes the focal point. The scale becomes the audit system. And then when you gain 5 pounds rather than lose 5 pounds because you're hitting bench press for 3 plates and you're strong as hell, you're going to now subvert your own process, because now you're going to be like, but I gained 5 pounds. But I gained 5 pounds, but I gained 5 pounds. So I'm doing it wrong. I got to stop. Now what you're doing is you're creating a negative reward mechanism or consequence mechanism. I did all the work and I'm getting worse. So then you quit. Well, if I'm doing all the work and I'm getting worse, then why am I doing all the work? So understanding your audit system and understanding what you're trying to go for and why you're trying to go for that will subvert or circumvent ending up in these negative systems. If you're going for energy and you're just like, holy fuck, I just bench pressed in 315 and I'm still able to go and have fun with my kids and lift them up, then goal met. You have the energy, right? But we get so focused on external systems of audit that we forget the whole reason we started in the first place. So become very clear on your why and make sure all of your systems go to that why, and you'll succeed. I recently had a conversation with somebody who have leveled their fitness journey up above the scale. And they're still worried about the scale. And I told them, okay, well, you conquered that boss. Put the scale up on the wall, make it a trophy, fire it. You don't need the scale anymore because you hit your goal. The weight doesn't matter to you anymore. And when I asked them, how did you pick that weight? And they said it was just a number that they threw at the wall. It's like, okay, well, then why do you care? Because you feel healthier than you've ever been. You feel stronger than you've ever been. You have more energy than you've ever had. And you care, you feel like you're failing because there's a number on a scale that you don't like. Fucking dip that bitch in epoxy, put it on the wall as a trophy and call it good and go and earn some other medal, other level. That's how you move forward. Because ultimately, you have to realize that fitness, you can't win fitness. You can win a competition, you can win a goal, you can win a journey, but you can't win at fitness. It's going to be something that you're constantly chasing. There'll be a new thing, a new medal, a new competition, a new level, whatever you want to call it. I want more energy. Well, okay, define it. I want to lose more weight. Okay. What weight do you want? And what happens when you get there? Right? That's the other thing. What happens when you get there? What happens when you actually get the goal? Most people get the goal, don't know what to do, and then gain it all back because they have no idea what to do. Because they didn't think past the goal, because they actually didn't believe they'd get it. And then when they got it, they go and celebrate, eat a shit ton of food, gain it all back, and then they beat themselves up about it. It's like, okay, well, if you had defined a new set of rules by the time you got there, the likelihood of you gaining it all back is a lot lower. So get the why set up, and then start planning ahead, right? Start figuring out what that goal is, what it means to you. And once you get it, what do you do? Right. And this doesn't just go in fitness. I mean, this is business, this is family, this is finance. Like if you set a goal and you hit the goal, but you haven't planned out what happens after the goal, then the likelihood you're just going to piss away all the effort is pretty high. Right? You think about it from a finance perspective. I'm going to save, $10,000. Why are you saving that $10,000? I just want to hold it. Okay, well, that's a proper goal, right? How long do you want to hold it? Because eventually you're going to see $10,000 in there and you're going to be like, but I'm struggling. Why am I struggling if I have $10,000? Or I really want to go on that trip to Cancun, or I want to go to Ireland, or I want to go to Australia. Why am I just sitting on $10,000? Because you haven't defined what to do with it after, right? Our reward mechanisms get broken when we start creating negative systems where we give ourselves a goal, but we don't give ourselves a prize for reaching it. Or we don't give ourselves a parameter for reaching it, right? I got my 10 pounds off. Now what? Do I keep going? Do I stop? Do I go backward? What's my new goal? Well, I don't know. So I'm just going to go back to old habits. And then you start eating again. You stop tracking, you stop working out. Next thing you know, in a month, 2 months, 3 months, you're exactly where you started, if not worse. So you have to continuously audit and pivot those goal sets in order for that to work. So then it becomes, I've never done a workout before. I have no idea where to start. I have no idea what to do. Just start. Okay. Something is better than nothing, always. Always, always. Something is better than nothing. And so the real issue here is we have at our fingertips too much information. We have so much information, we become overwhelmed. Should I be doing hill sprints? Should I be doing heavy lifting? Should I be doing powerlifting? Should I do bodybuilding? Right? One of the things we don't have within the focus and the scope of, like, say, social media is, generally speaking, unless you start following somebody at the start of their journey, you don't know why they're doing what they're doing. Right? So I'm eating 6,000 calories a day. I look lean as shit, but I don't tell you I'm running 10 miles a day. I'm lifting 3 hours a day. I do 3 workouts a day to make sure that I can burn off that 6,000 calories. Because I started here and I just see really cool workout videos. So what ends up happening, and this is why I also encourage people to get a personal trainer or a professional if you don't know how to do this yet, but that's why the community's here. You can also ask the community. Why would you do something like that? If you want to lose 10 pounds, eating 6,000 calories ain't going to do it. Conversely, though, eating 800 calories is also not going to do it. You're just going to be irritable, hungry, angry, tired, because you're not going to be able to maintain that 800 calorie intake. So why we do things is not just going to tell you what your goal set is. It's also going to explain how you get there, right? One of the things, and I'm going to use Tish as an example because we used to train. She gave me one rule when I did her nutrition. Don't take away my chocolate cake. That was her one rule. Because it was a reward mechanism that she had, right? And it's a good reward mechanism because it worked. So what I did, as I said, why do you think I'd have to take away your chocolate cake? She's like, well, because you put me on chicken and rice because, you know, that's how people eat. I was like, if you're a bodybuilder, yeah, you got to get striations and get down to a 10% body fat and below. You're going to need that strictness. But if you're a power lifter, which Tish was, it's a completely different energetic mechanism. You need chocolate cake because you have to lift with energy. And so that was a great example of she had seen the way diets work, but she didn't understand that they were for specific function. They're to get down to a low body fat percentage. They don't care about their energy. Most bodybuilders, when they're in the 6% body fat, will lower the amount of weight that they lift because they literally don't have the calories to do it. So it's a completely different mechanism. So what ends up happening in social media, because it's a really bad manipulative sales tactic, is if you want to lose this weight in 30 days, you have to do it this way. And if you don't do it that way, you fail. You suck. You're doing this. There are these broad statements that are used at a universal level. But in reality, there's so many factors and variables that go into a person's place, goal, setup, path, journey, whatever you want to call it, that make universality as a blanket statement damn near impossible. Great sales tactics, good for selling books, good for selling programs. But when it comes to an individual person, the likelihood that you're going to get every single person to have the same experience doing the same exact program is basically impossible. I mean, everything down to you can have, one guy and one girl, and just because one person sleeps and one person doesn't, the same program will work, right? So make sure that whatever you're doing aligns to where you're trying to go. The people you are following are actually people that are on the same journey or the same path of what you want, right? Don't follow a bodybuilder and their plans and their experiences and their tips if you want to be a power lifter. It's a different mechanism. Don't follow power lifters and bodybuilders if you just want to be a mom who can pick up her kids. Because you're going to think you need to be at 4% body fat with rippling arms and fucking supple body bikini figure. And you don't need that to pick up your fucking kids. It's probably impossible because you're eating their chicken nuggets because they didn't want to eat them and you don't want to waste it. So you have to understand the mechanisms and the hurdles that you're going to go through. Now, we can sit here and we can beat each other up and be like, well, you lack willpower. You just don't care enough. And it's fine. Those may be true. And that's okay. But if you know what your goal is, those kind of things can change it. You take away the guilt of, well, I don't have a bikini model body because I'm running around with my kids, but I'm running around with my kids. And that was my goal. That's a very different mechanism than I need to have a bikini body in order to work with my kids. So make sure the people you follow are giving you the advice that makes sense for where you're trying to go, not just a blanket statement that applies to fucking everybody, because more than likely it doesn't. So simplify, simplify, simplify. Do something over nothing. Make sure you're aligned with who you're following is going where you want to go. And don't get too technical early on. What I mean by that, if you've been sitting on a couch for 20 years, 20 minutes of walking is completely enough. Your ankles are going to be sore, your hips are going to be sore, your lower back is going to be tight, your shoulders are going to be tight if you're walking with proper posture, because you just don't do it, your body's going to adapt. You don't have to get in gym and do, 3 sets of 10 for 5 different exercises. I recommend it. Your body is going to respond faster if you build muscle. Your body and your joint is going to feel less painful. But maybe you're not at that point. If you've been sitting on a couch for 20 years in a sedentary job, you do 1 workout a week for 20 minutes of even a basic heavy lift, we'll say a cable machine, and you did tricep pushdowns and you only did 2 sets of 10, but for the next 4 days, you can't move your fucking arm, then you're less likely to go back. So guys like me who have been doing it for 15 years, guys like Matt who have been doing it for much longer than that, and is looking to be a bodybuilder, his mechanisms of going in the gym and getting to the point where you puke and celebrating that is not going to serve dad who just can't see his toes anymore and is mad that he can't pick up his kids. Long term, yeah, that could be a goal of his long term, the bigger goal. But in the beginning, what I'm going to tell that guy is, cool, you're still going to have to start. And if you start with the idea that next month you're going to look like Matt, who's been doing it for 20 years, you're going to fail. I wasn't trying to call you out, Matt. So Matt's been aging like a fine whiskey for a while, all right? So you got to understand that you can't get a 50-year-old age bourbon on 10-year effort or 5-year effort or 1-year effort. It takes time to get that type of skill, that type of density, that type of development, that type of consistency. And you need to give yourself that grace of like, dude, if you've never worked out, walking into a gym is scary as hell. Doing an exercise is anxiety ridden because you're afraid you're doing it wrong. You have all these ideas in your head from social media that are like, well, if you do it this way, you're an idiot. You don't know gym etiquette, so you're worried you're going to step on people's toes or be in the way. And you think everybody's judging you because in your mind, you're a fat piece of shit that hasn't done anything. The reality is people that have gone to the gym a long time see somebody who's just starting and we just internally celebrate. Good for you. You made it. Now, we might get frustrated with you if you're like standing next to us, right? When we're trying to lift and you're in the way of our lift. But most of us will be like, hey, man, you mind just stepping this way a little bit? Because I can't lift when you're in front of me. You'll get embarrassed because you're like, fuck, I messed up. But realize we'll never think about it again. We're not sitting there quietly judging you, right? Like we've been in the gym a long time. We're not quietly judging you. Bodies shift. Right now, off season for most bodybuilders, which means they're putting on anywhere from upwards of 5 to 20% more body fat than they normally carry. See, he's got his foo-foo drink right now. That thing's probably like 900 calories by itself. And so they're holding on to that body weight because the reality is you need fat to build muscle. If you don't have fat, you will not build muscle. So during off season, guys will do what's called a bulk. Some people do it a little bit more dirty with a lot more sugar, and that's not ideal because you have a lot of other problems. But if you do a clean bulk, you're still going to carry around a lot more weight so that you can put on the muscle when you go into shred season, because you lose about 15 pounds of body weight total when you shred down. And that's in muscle. Like that's a lot of weight that you lose in muscle. So you get smaller. So if you want to walk around with, Superman traps and, Hulk hands and all this other stuff, you got to put on a lot of weight, which should also be encouragement to you that start with bigger body weight. You already have the layer. So you're going to keep a lot more of it if you do it right. So just get in there and start working. You're going to be sore. It's going to be hard. If you're doing it right, you're not going to want to do it tomorrow. Just get in there and do it again. It's just the people that succeed are the people that are like, fuck, I said I'd do it. So go and do it. So I was going to get into a lot more of the technical tips. Here's the difference between rep ranges. Here's the difference between, cable pull downs and hit and lists. And we'll get into that in another call. I think with the start of it, I think just getting kicked off, the mindset is more critical for fitness than it is than it is for the actual like technical. Because in the technical side of it also, your body mechanics are going to come into play. Someone who's had shoulder surgery is going to have a different lift mechanism for their delts than somebody who has healthy shoulders. Somebody who has had a hip replacement is going to have a different leg day than somebody with healthy hips, right? And so getting on here and giving you guys technical tips, I think doesn't serve you as much as understanding why it's a priority, understanding your why, setting your goals properly, making sure that you're moving forward on fitness, and why it is a foundation. Right? There's this great speech, and I love when it pops on my feed or when I see it, and it's like, if I ask everybody what the most important thing in life is, most people say money. But if I tell them that I'd give them $10 million, but they die tomorrow, most won't take the money. So really the most important thing is time. And if you want more time on this earth, fitness is how you get it. It's a variable fountain of youth. It is the true fountain of youth. It'll give you the energy of the youth. It'll give the body of the youth. It'll give you the joints of the youth. It'll allow you to stay on this earth a lot longer. Your immune system gets better. So if you're looking for the reason why you should be fit, if nothing else, so you're still here. If nothing else, it clears up depression, right? I hear this a lot. I can't work out because I'm sad. Just get in there. It goes away. And I'm not saying it's easy, right? I'm not at all dismissing the fact that depression hits people and they don't want to get out of bed. But I can guarantee you nobody's looked at a workout and said, oh, fuck, I shouldn't have done that. Never once has it happened in the history of humanity. And that's biological. The chemicals that you release during a workout make you happy. That's just the reality. Now, for somebody who's chemically imbalanced with a depression issue, it might make them lower later. But I would challenge you to just go back to the gym. Eventually, working out will balance out the chemicals. And I'm speaking from experience. So I'm not a medical doctor. I have to put that disclaimer in there. If you're on medication, stay on medication. Do what you need to do for your health. But for me, I can speak from experience that anytime I'm depressed, anytime I've had deep bouts of depression, it was because I was overweight, I was eating like shit, and I wasn't working out. I go to the gym, I feel better. So I do want to get to these questions before we wrap up, and I'll even open it up for a roundtable. But one of the questions that I got was around gym etiquette. This is a big question, especially in the new year, and especially something you're going to hear avid gym goers bitch about a lot, because gym etiquette is one of those things like walking into a restaurant that requires suits and jeans and a tank top. Like it's weird for the people that are used to that norm, right? So one of the gym etiquette questions is, what happens when somebody crowds you, right? Maybe you're on a machine and somebody gets on the machine right next to you. Do you ask them to move? Do you scream at them? Do you how do you handle that? And I'll tell you right now, like from a gym etiquette perspective, you have to realize you're in a public space. As long as they're in a pre-designated space, you have no right to tell them to move if you're uncomfortable, right? If you're on a treadmill and they're on a treadmill and these are all empty, it's awkward and it's weird, and you really should be following urinal code, guy code, and putting a space between you, unless there are no other ones. And guys know what I'm talking about. But if they don't do it, your choices are to stay there and just get your workout in, which I'd recommend, or move. You can't turn to them and be like, bro, all of those are empty, go down there, because you make yourself look like an asshole. Right? Because what you just did, and here's a little bit more of an explanation. For all you know, the reason they stood on that treadmill next to you is because they want to be like you. And now maybe they just got to the gym. Maybe they are really awkward about being in the gym, and they stood next to you because you make them feel comfortable, and you just made them feel like shit that they stood next to you. They'll never come back to the gym again. That is the power in what you do in that community. And that's why it's important to treat everybody with that kindness and respect of like, you're fucking here, man. I'm only on this treadmill for 20 minutes. I can deal with you for 20 minutes as long as you don't got BO. I'm going to tell you that right now. That's my caveat. I'll move. If you stink, I'll move. I won't say shit to you. I'll just move. I don't know if it's a glandular issue. I don't know if you got fucking problems at home. I don't know. I'll empathize with you, but I don't want to be around you.
I'll even
I
tell
gotta,
them,
I gotta breathe a lot. I gotta breathe a lot.
bro, you got to do something about that.
Just hand them deodorant. Here you go.
Yeah. There's some body spray, man. Go fix that.
Yeah, it's body odor is one of those things. So when it comes to a public space, you can't ask them to move. Now, that being said, if it's a non-designated space, and we have this at all gyms, right, in front of the mirror with the the free weights, people that first get there, they don't recognize that the mirror is necessary for people to see their form. And I had this last night. I had this last night. I'm on the preacher curl. Now, the preacher curl form is extremely critical because if you go too low or your form is bad, you can snap your bicep connector, your ligament here. And this happens to bodybuilders a lot. It'll literally snap and ball up and then they're out of the competition. Okay. So you have to focus on your form. Now, you can look down and you get some of it, but if you're fully extending, your eyesight is going to be skewed. So you use the mirror. Guy grabs a dumbbell or a barbell, literally stands with his ass in my face, right in front of me. And not only that, and here's the other problem with this is I could let it go if you lift and then you walk away, right? If you're there because that's the best place for you, I can get over that. I can wait on my set, right? I can choose to wait. But instead, this guy would stand there, lift, put it down, and stand there. So now I can't see the entire time he's doing his workout, which hinders my workout. In those instances, with respect, right? You want to be kind about it unless they get mouthy, which that also happens. Ask them to move. Hey, man, do you mind if I'm trying to see myself. I just want to make sure I got good form. I'm far enough back. Could you just move down a little bit? Take a step to the right. That's what I did.
Slide over.
I was like, hey, man, you mind sliding over? I can't see. And he's like, oh, he just didn't notice, right? One of the things that we have to realize, especially in this time of year when we call them the resolutionaries, the people that come to the gym because they have a new resolution, they don't understand. And they're so nervous about being so anxiety ridden for being there. They don't see you. They're just trying to mouse over somewhere and find a space where they feel like they could live. So you don't have to make it worse. Asking them to move already makes them feel like shit, generally speaking. Because they were trying to find a space, they're not in the way. Right? Now, you do randomly get those guys who are like, fuck you, bro, blah, blah, blah. In which case, you have my full permission to fucking wallop them. I don't care. You want to be a dick, like, you fuck around and find out. Like, I'm a big believer in that, right? We have a guy there that gets like that all the time at my gym. He's always wears a basketball jersey, always flashy, always trying to run his mouth. And there's a lot of veteran lifters in there that have no patience for it. And so he gets mouthy with the non-veteran lifters, and then the veteran lifters walk over and like, all right, bud, you know you wouldn't pull that shit with me. So there's the door. But you have to realize that in general, most people, your first interaction is going to decide whether or not they're going to come back tomorrow. And as a community for heroes, we should be that beacon that wants everybody to come back tomorrow. We want people to seek coming back. We want people to seek being part of that community of bettering themselves. So that means you have a responsibility of ensuring that that's a positive experience for people. Selfishly, does it suck? Yeah. Getting a machine when it's super busy fucking sucks. If I wanted to be selfish, I could bitch about it just like all the other people that bitch about it, right? They're wasting space, they're blah, blah, blah. But I don't see it that way. They made it. That is a huge step for a lot of people. They got off the couch and into a gym that they feel awkward about. It's my responsibility to welcome them. Worst case scenario, they have a great experience, they never come back again. Best case scenario, they have a great experience, they keep coming back, and they become somebody that we connect with. That we can get a spot from, that we can shoot the shit with, that we can talk about bodybuilding or powerlifting or whatever with, right? It becomes our community. Don't rob yourself of that either, because that's what you're doing. If you want to be a dick, you're robbing yourself of community. That's a problem. You shouldn't do that.
Well, the gym is my life, and I like to positively motivate them. So I'm more like that guy, who on Instagram is like, go to the gym, go to the fucking gym. I just go up and tell them, don't fucking quit. Don't quit. You're here. You made it here. Don't quit in 2 weeks. Don't quit in 4 weeks. Don't quit in 12 weeks, because this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. It takes time and dedication. You have to continue to do it. And if you need, and I always tell them, if you have questions, ask me. I'm an open book. I don't charge anybody anymore. My days of being a personal trainer are long gone. Now I'll just I'll give the information out for free.
Yeah.
Here's what you need. Here's how you need to do it. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to concentrate on. This is how you need to think. Mind muscle connection.
Exactly.
Did it this morning. So
yeah. And the other thing too, you know, one thing that really helps in what Matt's saying is, like, if you're that person that is cheering them on, so just get here, give them another goal. In 6 months, we'll get a workout in. In 3 months, we'll get a workout in together. Like, we'll be cheersing together, you know, like, we'll toast to that success, because it's just one more day. You just show up one more day. And the next thing you know, it's June, and then December, and then next year, right? And you compound enough days together, and all of a sudden you're like, holy shit. Like, I've talked with my team about this before. It's crazy to think that a short few years ago, for me, in my mind, is actually 15 years ago when I started my fitness journey. That's bonkers to me. When I started, I was 307 pounds. I had a sedentary life, sedentary job. I sat in front of video games and ate Doritos and did nothing healthy. Drank all the time, sodas, all that stuff, sugars, whatever I can pound down, I did. I go downstairs, my left leg collapses, or my right leg collapses, locks up. I think I'm going back in a wheelchair. I go to the doctor. He's another Marine. He's like, dude, you're just fat. You can't handle your weight. 15 years ago, I walked into my apartment gym and got on a treadmill. And every day I did 10 miles for 6 months straight. And I ate like 400 calories. I had like a sandwich a day. It was the most unhealthy way to lose weight possible, but it worked. It's what I knew. Eat less, run all day. That's the Marine Corps way. Like, that's what we did, right? And if you're sore and hurt, here's some Motrin and water. I just went back to the fittest I'd ever been, which was the Marine Corps. I didn't realize how much damage I was doing to my body, but it just kept showing up. And then I rubber banded. Never got back up to 307, but I got back up to 275. I got back up to 260, went back down to 135 because I was just not eating and I just looked emaciated and needed a sandwich, more than one, right? So, like, it's a process, right? It's the marathon of it. Just show up another day, take another step, whether that's getting your diet clean or getting in the gym consistently or consistently eating breakfast. That was a big hurdle for me. When I started my fitness journey, I didn't realize how many times I skipped breakfast. The problem with skipping breakfast is your metabolism is on shutdown mode until you eat. So you go and you sleep for 8 hours and then you don't eat until noon. That's great for this fasting community, you know, the whole, like, let's make anorexia popular again. I don't really, not a big fan of the fasting concept because I think it leads to eating disorders. That's my own personal issue with it, but some people it works for them. But if you don't eat breakfast after you wake up within the first couple hours, you remain in stasis. Your body is not burning anything. It's trying to hold on to it out of survival. So you're running on backup systems. That's why, especially when people don't eat breakfast, they start eating breakfast, they're like, man, I'm just starving by noon. No shit, that's the point. You just made the metabolism work. You just started burning food for energy again. Instead of not eating breakfast because you don't want to be hungry by noon, bring snacks. But diet culture makes people like, oh, you shouldn't snack. You're not allowed to eat in between meals. It's like, you're not a bodybuilder, you're trying to be healthy. You should definitely be snacking. Now, you shouldn't be snacking on like fucking cookies and gummies. You should have nuts and some fruit and some things like that, but that's a different conversation about the quality of food you have. So anyway, I digress. I hope that answered the question. I know I went from gen etiquette to like diet real quick, but that's part of fitness, right? Like, this is an area that you can talk for hours and hours and still only touch the top of the iceberg. I had another question in regards to diet, which is eating the rainbow. This is a statement that is used to get people to kind of frame eating right. Eat the rainbow. Eat the rainbow means eat a lot of colors. right? The reason for that is because if you eat a lot of colors, the probability that you're eating the right amount of micronutrients, the vitamins, the antioxidants, the enzymatic systems, it's a lot higher, right? Than if you're just like people that just juice, right? You're not getting everything you need. Most systems in your body require an animal fat. I know vegans hate that, but it's true. So most systems in your body are enzymes are chemicals. So enzymatically built to have an animal fat solubility in order to break down. If you ever talk to somebody who's been on vegan for a long time, they're like, yeah, but when I eat meat, I just feel really heavy and I'm very tired. Yeah, because you no longer have the enzymes to break the meat down because you've been eating vegan stuff for so long. Your intestines are no longer strong. Same thing happens with juicers. If you don't put roughage that you chewed up, masticated, and put into your stomach, that your intestines now have to move, that's a muscle that no longer gets worked because it's just liquid. So while juicing will help you lose weight, it will shut down other systems. It will weaken other systems. So you need to balance it out. So like if you're a vegan and you want to get back into eating animal foods, you don't go and get a 16-ounce steak. You're going to fucking have the biggest stomach ache and you're probably going to, have some other bowel issues, right? Like what you do is you add 2 to 4 ounces of animal fats, animal foods in different meals throughout the day. And you start with once a day, then you go to twice a day. Then once you're at twice a day, then you add from 4 ounces to 6 ounces and you wean yourself back into it because you're creating the system to do that. So the question was, when you're eating the rainbow, does an apple count for green or red based on what you eat, or doesn't count for white because of the flesh? Now, the easiest way to answer this is to understand why something is a color. If it's a peel or a rind, you're not getting any additional micronutrients from it. The only reason that it's that color is because evolutionary, the tree wants us to eat it so that we can poop out the seeds later. So that's why that is. So no, they would not be a red or green if it's an apple. Same that an orange wouldn't be orange if it's a white flesh. Orange is orange because it has orange flesh. The colors represent enzymes and vitamins that exist inside the system. If when you peel it, it doesn't carry that same color, then that means that those micronutrients are surface level, in which case they don't count. Broccoli is green. It doesn't matter if you cut it up, you eat it whole. It's green through and through. An orange is orange through and through. An apple is white. Now, there are great micronutrients. It is a single sugar from apples. And the rind does have a little bit more nutrients. Like there's some more iron in the rind of an apple, but it's not going to give you like antioxidants and things like that. When they say eat the rainbow, what they really mean is berries, because they're through and through. So red, black, blue, or raspberries. They should be red berries. Strawberries, things like that. Bananas, high in potassium. Peppers. So you want to eat, celery, broccoli, those are your greens, beans, asparagus. But then you have like peppers and tomatoes, and those are going to have things. Now, I say tomatoes, and now that I say that, keep in tomatoes are highly acidic, and so a lot of people have issues eating tomatoes. So that's another thing. And then onions. Somebody asked in that same question, they asked about the onions, red versus white. Red onions actually have a different nutrient profile than white onions, and different from yellow onions. So red onions have higher metabolic enzymes in them than the yellow and the red onions do. It's why they're sweeter. It's why red onions are sweeter. They actually have more properties. So red and white onions, that would be considered eating different forms of the rainbow, but apples not. So I need to get really a lot more direct about answering these questions, because I'm realizing now that I'm just like going off and like giving you guys all this information. It's probably not helpful if you guys are getting overwhelmed. But yeah, as far as gym etiquette, just to answer that question again, just more directly, just be kind and respectful. But if they're in a designated space, you can't ask them to move. That's the space that they're supposed to be in. As far as eating the rainbow, it really matters if the color is all the way through or if it's just on the rind. And you do want to eat a wide variety of colors. And that includes meats. So a lot of people are like, that doesn't include meats. It does include meats. So chicken is considered white, like poultry is considered a white, light colored meat, red meat being steaks and beef, and then pink meats being pork and salmon, fish. Even within fish, you want to have pink and white and yellow, different types of fish meat in that as well. Be careful with pork. Pork is one of those, one, there are some religious practices that don't want you to have pork, but it usually comes with a lot of salt and a lot of fat. So if you're going to eat pork, just make sure it's a lean pork, which is very hard to find, or you're minimizing how much. The amount of fat in a chicken breast at 8 ounces is like 1-to-5 ratio of an 8-ounce slice of pork. So you get almost 5 times more fat on a slice of pork than you do a chicken breast. So as long as you're accounting for that, it's not a problem. You just need to make sure you account for it. So I hope that answered questions. I know we're a little over, so I appreciate you guys staying on, but was there any roundtable items?
No, I mean, the only thing I'd add to what you've said now is clothing etiquette at a gym. And I'm just speaking for the guys. I'm like, unless you're like stage ready, don't wear anything that shows off the nipples and stuff. Keep yourself covered up. You know, I understand you got to see certain things, certain muscles and stuff when you're lifting and you're trying to contract, and you need the visual connection, and that's why you're in the mirror and everything. But other than that, it's like the guys who, you know, I guess that's my pet peeve is guys that show up that are wearing, you know, the stringers, and I'm like, dude, why?
It's a pet peeve for me. I wouldn't say it's against etiquette, as long as your junk's covered, right? Like, as long as you're not being inappropriate, I'm good with it. I'm gonna judge the shit out of you, to be perfectly frank, if you're a dude.
Yeah.
And you're wearing stringers. There's just, I think what it is it's not a judgment of your choice. It's more that it seems like you're trying too hard. And so for me, when I see guys, and I see this a lot at my gym, is guys that are new on the journey, very, like, I wouldn't say really overweight, but definitely not in any peak physical condition, wearing stringers that show off the lower back fat, show off the nipple fat. And to me, I think for me, the reasons a pet peeve is my own thing. Like, I would never wear something like that if I'm at that level, because it's not helpful, right? The reason bodybuilders wear the stringers is because they're striated enough. Striated means the cuts, they have a low body fat percentage. They're striated enough to know and see when they're activating a muscle. And if they stop seeing that activation, then they're knowledgeable enough to change the way that they're lifting. If you have 15, 16, 18% body fat on you, you're not seeing it anyway. You're not going to see the striations. You're not going to see the muscle move. There's just too much fat on top of it. And so it's just, it serves no purpose other than their own ego. And so that's where my judgment comes from. But I wouldn't say it's necessarily
etiquette
you couldn't get away with, right? Like, because
I mean, you can do it. It's personal preference, but I mean, I'm, you know, at 270, I'm still in the single digits of body fat.
But you love pump covers.
You know, and I do. I love having big baggy clothes on. The only time you will ever see me personally strip down to a stringer or muscle shirt is when I'm doing lateral raises. And it's only because I'm trying to watch perfect form to make sure I'm not engaging my traps. You know, as soon as I'm done with 4 or 5 sets of lateral raises, the pump cover comes right back on. I'm like, that we're off to do something else. But I guess it's my own pet peeve. I'm like, why do people, you know, why do guys with absolutely no physique walk in with these shirts that are cut down to their weight, nipples hanging out? And I'm like, dude, go, you know, and it's always usually, I'm like, I don't care. It's either you're 100 pounds overweight or you need to go eat a sandwich for days before you come to the gym. There isn't any muscle on you whatsoever.
Yeah.
Who you impressing?
I think the skinny guys, it's an emulation, right? With Gymshark becoming popular in the last several years, you have YouTube and social media fitness influencers becoming popular. And that popularity is creating an emulation where they don't understand why they're wearing stringers. They don't understand the why behind things, which happens a lot. And so they just emulate. And, you know, again, it's a judgment piece where it's like, it's frustrating because they don't understand the why and they don't even question it. And I think, you know, as we're talking, the more that we talk about it, the more I'm like, okay, what's the purpose, right? If I'm empathizing with them, like for us, you and me, Matt, we know the muscular purpose of wearing a stringer, why you keep a pump cover on, all that stuff.
Yeah.
These guys are just emulating vloggers, right? These internet studs that are genetically predisposed to being easily muscle bound, and then they put steroids in, right? Like they don't understand why they put a stringer on. They don't understand why they do what they do. They just see a guy that they want to look like, and they're like, well, if I wear a stringer, then I'm going to look like that. It's like, it doesn't quite work that way. So if that's what gets them to the gym and feels confident, I wouldn't be one to tell them not to, but at the same time, a big part of me wants to be like, here's why you would do that, and here's why you wouldn't, right?
Yeah.
And the way that I look at it is this: if I see you with a stringer for a year, and in that stringer, that whole year, maybe you did change a lot. I can't tell. Here's why I can't tell: because I've seen the micro changes over that year.
Yep.
However, if I come in day one, 18% body fat with a sweater on, and I never take that sweater off, and then 6 months in, I take that sweater off, everybody's going to be like, holy shit, who is this? Because they're used to a very specific form. But when you take that off, that form changes, right? And then in a year. So again, pump covers, stringers, they serve a purpose. And if you use them for the purpose, you're going to get effect. But I think there, and this is just my pet peeve with social media and YouTube and all that stuff, is like there's too many people out there just doing things because they saw it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Right. Dry scooping is one of those that is a big pet peeve. Right. Dry scooping pre-workout. It's a pet peeve because you are literally wasting your pre-workout.
Yeah.
Pre-workout is a chemical that is specifically formulated to react with H2O, hydrogen and oxygen, which then breaks down in the bloodstream to then create beta-alanine uptake, your citrulline uptake, your when you dry scoop, you are completely subverting your own use of the product. But because it's popular and cool, we do it, you know, as a society, we do it. And so there, that's kind of that thing. That's why kind of we built the community, is like, we're not YouTubers, right? I talked about this recently. Like, I'm not a clapping monkey, which kind of slows our process and progress as a company, because I'm not sitting there like, I'm a clapping monkey, let me entertain you. Like, I'm not doing that. And so nobody wants to follow somebody who's just like, listen, this is what it is, right? It's not, it doesn't have the wow factor they're looking for. The flip side of that is the people that have the wow factor lack the information.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, I'm just trying to make content for the sake of making content. And so now we have a generation of people dry scooping pre-workout, thinking that it's doing something. And worse than that, I think, is that they don't just think that it's doing something, they actually believe it's more effective. They actually believe, well, it's not getting diluted, so dry scooping works. And I was like, no, because it isn't, it's now a stable state chemically. So you put it in your system as a stable state without the water, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't act.
Yeah.
You just put
just
a inert bomb in there and just was like, well, it should blow up soon. No.
I like those people just that first workout, and then they're just now cracking their pre-workout. I'm like, you should have done that about 30 to 45 minutes ago.
I'm guilty of
You're
that.
not going to feel it till you're done.
Yeah, I definitely have been trying to change that recently, because I am definitely guilty of that. I'm the guy that will sip on it for the first 20 minutes of my workout.
Yeah.
And now because I've been changing that perspective, now I get to the gym and I'm like, fucking forgot to drink it on the way. So now I'm like trying to chug it in the parking lot. Because if I bring it in there, I'm not going to chug it. I'm going to sip on it. And then it doesn't, you know.
Yeah. Just have your BCAAs in your shaker to sip on while you're in the gym.
I need to get
That's
back.
the most effective way. BCAAs.
I've been using BCAAs for my yogurt. That has
Yeah.
been amazing for me, because I do vanilla yogurt in the morning and then vanilla yogurt as a pre-workout. And I do about 225 grams of the Greek yogurt.
Yeah.
So it's like 40 grams of protein or something like that. But I hate yogurt. I hate the flavor of yogurt. I've never liked yogurt. I think it's like eating curdled milk. It's weird. But I've been putting my BCAA powder in there and mixing it up, and it's tolerable. So But that's a
So
good
I
point.
just wanted to real quick put into etiquette wise, for the big body people, like I know talking from the guys and you know, you guys are all trying to beef up and bulk, and that's a predisposed accepted discussion. But from a big body person who's in the gym, like when you see other big bodies in there, I guess what I would be advocating for is don't dismiss them. Like I'm pretty strong as fuck, even though I'm a pretty big girl. So just
Well,
because you see
yeah, no,
just
you,
because
yeah,
you see a big person next to you and they're not shapely doesn't mean they're not strong or not set in their goals that they're trying to do. And so if somebody like them is asking for help, or you see them doing something a little bit off, like don't be afraid to like actually tell them how, like you were saying for the guys, like, hey, you're doing that wrong, like let me give you a tip. Like just because you see a big body doesn't mean they're not as dedicated or they're not strong as fuck. They just, you know, don't have the shape that you expect to go with that strength. So
well, no,
again, that
and I'd agree with you 110%, Tish, because I'll watch people and I'm like, there's a difference. You know, if we were in a gym and I never knew you, but I see you over there, I'm like, that's fuck powerlifter. She's not pissing around. You know, and that's a completely different physique. I've got buddies who are powerlifters, and I love watching them because I'm like, I'm half jealous because these guys will do a few reps, what they call a set, you know, and they're working up pyramiding, how you powerlifters do. They'll sit down for 5 or 10 minutes and have a bag of powdered donuts or something and a big jug of orange juice. And I'm like, what? I'm getting fueled up, man. I'm going to go for a PR today. And I'm like, you suck. I'm over here thinking about the 4 chicken and rice meals I'm going to eat, and I don't get to enjoy that stuff. I couldn't stomach it because I've been on chicken and rice so long. So I'm envious. And it's like, because I'll watch you guys like you know, you've hit freaking records and set. I mean, you've set national records and stuff, and it's like, God damn it, you know, why couldn't I have found that platform 40 years ago instead of this platform? You know, because then I would have been like eating whatever the hell I want, even though I had to get my macros in, but I would have been enjoying the other things in life as well.
yeah.
So, but no, I love watching. Yeah, I don't judge them by their physique. You can tell people who know what the fuck they're doing and those who are beginners, first timers, who have absolutely no clue as to what they're doing. And it's like, you know, what are you looking for? What are you going? I'll ask them, what are you going for? Are you going for a physique? Are you going for strength? You know, what are you just trying to exercise to get better fit? What do you do? You know, and I'll tell them if you don't know what you're doing, watch YouTube, pull some videos up. I'll give them people to look at, or I tell them you need to hire a personal trainer, you know, and tell them what you want to do and interview them. Don't let them interview you. You interview them. Find out how many people they've worked with that have done what you're trying to do, and look at their journey, because chances are they probably posted up some social media or something like that. You know, that's what it's all about.
I think it's a solid call out. And I'm like Matt, like I don't really care what your physique look like. I care about your effort.
Yeah, don't quit. Don't fucking quit.
I think because it's one thing to say don't quit, but I think in the workout, there, you know, I'm a people watcher by nature anyway, because I'm constantly surveying the area. But at the gym, my hat's down. Like it creates blinders for me, and I'm focused and I'm doing what I'm doing. If you are distractingly not doing something, meaning you pull me out of my blinders, I'm like, what the hell are you doing? That's a problem for me, because the reason is it's not the person who has bad form that does that. It's not the person that like really just doesn't know what they're doing, but they're trying. It's the person that has been sitting on the leg extension for 30 minutes on their phone, right? If you're going to go sit somewhere on your phone, get on a treadmill. You want to sit somewhere on your phone, get on a bike. You're going to get so much more out of that workout being on your phone. You can do exactly what you're looking for, but you're actually burning calories. But what you're doing, those people frustrate me because what they're doing is they're robbing somebody else the opportunity to use that machine so that they can sit on their phone. So I've seen the fittest people at the gym drive me up a fucking wall because they're on their phone or they're using it as a social club instead of working out. I don't care how fit you are. If you're at the gym and it's your social club, go to the front of the club. Stop sitting in the weight area. Stop sitting on the machine. Stop sitting on the things. Like, you want to talk about gym etiquette? That drives me fucking nuts. But if you're working, I don't give a fuck if you're skinny, fat, fit, yoked as hell. I don't care. You're working. Right? Like, far be it for me to tell you you're bad or not on the right path or whatever. It's not my path. But you're working. But if you're sitting there like,
well, I mean, I know everybody at the gym and stuff, and it's not because of my physique or anything like that. It's because I'll get the people that are sitting on a machine like that and be like, how many more sets you got? Well, I got this many. I'm working in. And now I force them to work at my pace. And I'm like, now you have to relate to me. You know, I'm going to be right here. I'm going to be standing over you. You aren't quitting now. You got 3 more reps in you. Come on. You know, move the pin. Let's go.
Move the pin.
You know,
Lift
I force
heavier.
them to do those things. Yeah.
That
Oh,
was
yeah.
too easy.
Yeah. You did that. No. Put that mark 3 more plates down. Put the pin in. Let's
I love
go.
when
10
people
more.
ask for a spot. It's my favorite thing. Bench or deadlift or squats.
Oh,
Hey, can you just spot me? They'll quit at least 2 before they're ready to quit. And I make them push those last 2 and they get so
yeah.
they're like, I didn't think I had it. I was like, you had it. You're fine.
Yeah. I'm notorious for doing that. One of the gals I train is, you know, I put her through a leg day the other day, and I'm like, when you can make a bikini/figure woman cuss while she's lifting, you know you're pushing the envelope.
Yeah, because they're not easy. Like if they're a bikini or figure, they've been putting in work a long time.
Oh yeah.
They're used to rough workouts. So if you make them cuss, you're taking it to the limit.
Yep. Yeah. When you make those women cuss, because I'm like, and I like working out with her because I'm like, damn, she can't lift what I lift. But I'll throw something out that's like wild. Like we just get done with hack squats, and I'm like, okay, let's go do plate squat. You know, barbell, standing our heels on the plates. You know, which is a barbell hack. And be like, there's no way she's going to agree to it. And I go, let's go do that. She's like, okay. I'm like, oh fuck, now I got to go do it. You know, I mentioned it. Now I got to go do it, and my quads are killing me. They're so full of blood.
My favorite
like,
thing is
that's
making
why-
Tish yell shit.
Yeah, I personally love working out with women more than I do men, because men are quick to quit. You know,
They are.
do we really have to do that? Oh, let's not do that. Let's go over and do this. I'm like, no, fuck that.
You
Women
know
will
what
be
it
like,
is? It's their ego.
okay.
It's
Yes.
their
Oh,
ego.
shit.
Men are afraid of failure because they're afraid
Yeah.
they're gonna look stupid. So then they like make up reasons not to do it. Like I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to dying.
But
Let's
women
die.
will end up, because we're trying to, like, if we're in the gym, we probably are somewhat in our masculine anyway, right? And so if we're in the gym and we're working out with a guy or, you know, a friend or whatever, and they're like, well, let's go do this. Fuck. Okay, cool. Like, I want to,
Yeah.
if that's what guys do,
You're not
I
gonna
wanna
make
do
me
some
look
of that
weak.
too. Yeah,
Yeah,
you know,
no.
I'm not a
It's
bitch
a
girl.
reason.
Like, I'm in,
It's
you know, but
it's
like,
backwards.
yeah,
Men should have, you're not gonna make me a bitch.
right.
Women should be like, well, I don't know. I still want them to push the way they are, but they shouldn't feel like that competition
Yeah.
more than men. Men should feel the competition more. That's my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
And so like when I train with Tish and I put her under weight she didn't plan to put on the bar, when she comes up to the top and she goes, shit, that's when I know I did it.
Yep.
That's
When
like
you
my
can make
favorite
a-
point.
when you can make a woman cuss, when they rack something and they walk out, and excuse my French, but when they rack it and they're like, fuck, you're like, oh, that come out of her? You're like, okay, yeah, we did something here. We hit a new benchmark here. This is sweet.
Yeah.
You know,
it's
and
the
of
best.
course-
It's the best.
It's awesome because, like I said, women who are driven won't quit. They won't quit. That's why I love throwing something out at them like, let's see if she bites at this. Okay. Oh, shit. Now I got to do it.
That's
I
why
got
it
no
drives me
choice,
nuts when
you know?
women say
And
they're
I
just
can't
wrong.
bitch out. I'm like, I'm the trainer. I can't bitch out. And I
Yeah.
know, I'm like, she just watched me do 7 plates. If I don't at least put 225, 315 on this thing, I'm going to look like a monkey. So I know I got to do it. You know, I'm like, oh shit, this is good.
Yeah.
I hope I don't puke.
I did that to Deborah last night, and she wanted to do a heavy hold bench. And so I benched 90 kilos and I had it on the bar, and she's like, I want to do it. I was like, all right, fuck, let's do it. And then I was like, I went to go get it. I'm like, I don't think I could spot 90 kilos for you.
If they
So,
die,
like,
they die.
So I convinced her. I'm like, well, let's just take the weight. Like, I don't want you to double I want you to be successful. I want you to have a good time. Like, let's do this, and we'll.
Oh,
it'll be
that's
great."
just
So
rude. You made it for her. It's your fault. She had it.
she did great. She did great. But I was like, yeah, I don't know that I can help you. Like, we're both going down. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Spotting 90 kilos is easy because most people that fail at 90 kilos, they're not going to fail out from it. They're just going to need you to push a little bit more.
Well,
That
yeah,
brings up
but
a question. Do you admit though, when somebody asks you for a spot like that, and I mean out of the blue, I had a guy ask me to spot. He was going for a 600 squat.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, you want to give me a spot?" And no. I said, because I know I can't help you up, but let's
Right.
get somebody else and we'll each get on one side and then we'll have somebody stand behind you. And then
For
we
sure.
know, we got enough people there. No, I'm not helping you by myself with a 600-pound squat. You might as well drop it.
For sure. Yeah, squats for sure, right? I mean, that's just a safety issue.
Yeah.
Technically, at a 600-pound squat, you should have 4 guys, but that's the referee in me. Um,
Well,
but
I'm glad you say it, because I'm like, okay, three guys like me spotting this dude doing 600. I'm like, we should be okay.
yeah, on a platform in competition, it's 5 guys, 2 on each bar or 2 on each end and 1 behind, plus your
Okay.
lifter. So all of you are bringing the weight back up. But
Okay.
but I've had guys in the gym with 300 whatever on the bars, and they're like, "Hey, can you just keep me alive?" And I'll be like, "Sure," but I'll admit, like, I'm you better bring it up because I'm not
We're
giving
both
up on
dying
you
today.
by myself.
I'm gonna watch you die.
I will help you bring it back, or I will catch and guide, but because I'm short anyway, and so even just to like, I just don't have leverages with the racks that we have in the gym. So even if I put myself up on blocks to make me a little more effective, selfishly, I'm just thinking, like, if we fuck this up, my shins are out. Like, I'm breaking shins, and so I don't love that person enough to give up my shins for them. So
Yeah.
or I will make the point, if they've come to me because they're comfortable asking me, and I know that I can't do it, then I will then go recruit somebody who can either do it themselves or we can do it together.
Okay.
Just so that there is that etiquette piece, if you will, of like, hey, I clearly you're asking for help. I want to help you. I want to help you push. If I don't think that's within my skill, then I'll go get other people, or just admit to them,
Yeah.
hey, don't fuck up because, I don't have it. So let's do it together. But just know that I'm not going to lift this shit off of you if you decide to bail out. So
I love that. Yeah.
I
Just know
work out
if you don't make it.
at a big box gym, so like nobody does that.
nobody helps each other.
No, everybody helps each other. Nobody does 600 pounds. Like it's not that type of gym. And so,
That's because the idiot at the counter is like, oh my gosh, like you can't do that here.
oh, we don't have that problem because I'll lift heavy weights. So like when I was, because I used to work out at that gym when I was doing it's 575 for squats, and nobody told me no. But nowadays it's just like the only people that power lift at that gym are deadlifters. They're like deadlift only crew. And so you can't really spot a deadlift anyway. So if they're pushing big weight, it's not a big deal. But yeah, I've never seen anybody push more than 4 plates on bench at that gym, and I've never seen anybody squat more than 4 plates on squats. So I can definitely spot a 4-plate squat or bench by myself. So I've never had to look for somebody. But if somebody rolls up and they're like, yeah, I got 675 on the bar, can you spot me? I'd be like, not alone.
No. Yeah.
We'll have to get somebody else, but we could. Now the reason for the 4-person spot on the platform is in case they drop and one person doesn't catch. That's why they have the second person on either side. It's not because they don't have the strength to pick it up. It's like, because you come down, right, and somebody drops out from under 600 pounds. If you have 2 and one guy just fucking doesn't have it, it's going down and everybody's going down with it. And there's a lot of screaming and mayhem, right? But if you have 2 on each side and one guy misses the catch, then there's a second guy to come up with it, which is why they do it on the platform. But like in a gym for practice, one, if you're practicing, you're not going for a PR, like I'm a little bit more confident that you're probably going to get it. And 2, if there's 2 on each side, more than likely we'll catch it because we're terrified for you. Like we're fucking scared you're going to kill us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll
That's
catch it.
Like, oh, I don't want to. I'm not blowing anything out for this. What the hell?
Yeah.
It becomes more, you become the motivator, right? Like I know I've had times where it's like, I'll ask somebody to spot me, and just the act of having somebody behind me to spot is enough for me to be like, well, I don't want to fucking drop it, so I'm going to try a little harder. Whereas I would have kind of quit on myself a little bit, been like, oh, it's kind of hard, I'll just bail out. Instead of like, I got somebody standing here to spot me, I don't want to lose it. So, sometimes it's just that motivation piece, or, 2 people, somebody on either end of the bar. It's just that screaming piece of telling somebody to get the bar up that is enough to get them out of their little stopping point and move them up. So sometimes you're just like a glorified cheerleader.
Oh yeah, but sometimes that's all it takes because I know
Right.
that after I've done hacks and leg extensions and stuff, and then it's like, okay, let's go squat. I'm like 315, rep 6. I have a woman behind me that I'm like, she can't lift it. I know she can't lift it, but she's yelling in my ear, and I'm like, well, I don't want to look like a little bitch. I got to get up.
Right. Right.
Now, granted, she's only going to yell at 1 rep because I'm like, fuck this, rack it. But
Yeah.
she does yell, so it's like it's enough to keep me moving.
Right.
And I like when people ask for a spot, there's a dialogue that happens if they've done it a while, right? Where it's like, hey, I think I got it, but I just need you just in case, right? When that happens, the dialogue that usually ensues for me as somebody who's been lifting a long time is like, okay, well, how do you want me to spot? Right? Like, do you want me to let you die a little bit? Do you want me to grab it as soon as I see it? Like how much time do you want on it? Because if somebody goes, I think I got it, I just want somebody, that means that they're experienced with that weight in some regard. And so they kind of know the mechanism that they're going to hit their sticking point. Right. And so I might even ask, like, where's your sticking point? They're like, I usually get stuck at the bottom or I get stuck in the middle or whatever. Then I know I'm not fucking touching it. If you tell me it got stuck in the middle, I'm not touching it till you get it to the middle, because that's not your sticking point. And then when you're at the middle, I'm going to let you struggle for a little bit. Because if I'm yelling at you, you may get it. And I don't want to ruin that rep for you by touching it and lifting it prematurely. Right. So like when you're spotting, it's kind of an honor. Like I take getting asked to do a spot as an honor, because it's like, one, you trust me with your life right now, because if you drop that,
Right.
But 2, you see me and you're like, he probably knows how to spot, because you don't randomly just ask somebody who doesn't look like they know what they're doing
Right.
to spot
To spot
you.
you.
Look for somebody who you think knows a little bit about how to spot.
Yeah.
And so when I get asked to spot, I get kind of excited, because I'm like, oh, I appreciate the little kudos, the little
Right. You think I'm strong enough.
Yeah.
Joke's on you. I'm not. I'm about done. I'm beat, dude. I ain't got
There's a
enough gas.
great group of guys out here. We're all gonna die out here.
Right.
We're gonna die together.
As long as somebody puts a couple extra plates before they call the cops, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a rule.
That's a rule.
That's
Somebody
an
dies
unspoken
on the
rule.
bench or on squat, you add a couple 45s so that it
Yep.
looks like they were doing more when they died.
Yep,
You wanna talk
absolutely.
about gym etiquette.
Yeah, you erase the surveillance video and just that one part and be like, that motherfucker was hitting the PR. We do it.
His eulogy was,
and
and then he died. He hit his PR of 800 pounds. They're like, he was $115. How did he hit 800 pounds?
Right.
All
right.
Gin and juice, but it's badass.
I appreciate you guys staying on as long as you did. This has been a great call, great conversation. Again, if you've stayed with us this long, reminder that we will be having in-person in Northern California meetup on the 21st. Look forward to more details coming out in the portal. That is going to be public, so you can bring whoever you want to that. That'll be a public event, not just a member-only event. Sovereign Summit's coming up in June. Be sure to register for that. That's 3-day crash course on really taking your life to that next level. Really excited for that. And make sure to turn push notifications on your phone, because if you can't see when we're posting stuff, you're going to miss a lot. And there's a lot going on in the portal. So be sure to do that. Otherwise, have a great week. Have a great weekend. And we'll talk to you next week. See you in the portal. Thanks, everyone.